In 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte stood at the height of his power. His empire stretched across Europe, and only one major enemy remained: Russia. In June of that year, he launched the most ambitious military campaign in history, leading over 600,000 men into the vast Russian wilderness. What followed was one of the greatest disasters in military history. Confident in his past victories, Napoleon dismissed warnings about the Russian winter. He believed a swift, decisive battle would force Tsar Alexander I to surrender. With grand ambitions, he gathered the largest army Europe had ever seen, the Grande Armée. In June 1812, the massive army crossed the Niemen River into Russian territory. Cavalry thundered forward, cannons rolled across muddy roads, and columns of infantry stretched as far as the eye could see. But the Russians refused to fight. They retreated deeper into their vast country, burning villages, crops, and supplies as they went. Napoleon's army was left starving, chasing an enemy that never stood still. On September 7th, Napoleon finally forced the Russians to stand and fight near the village of Borodino. It was a brutal clash, one of the bloodiest battles in history. Over 70,000 men fell in a single day, yet Napoleon failed to break the Russian army. After Borodino, the road to Moscow lay open, but when Napoleon arrived, the city was abandoned. No victory parade, no surrender, just an eerie silence. That night, fires broke out across the city, set by the Russians themselves. Napoleon's dream of conquering Russia was turning into a nightmare. As Napoleon hesitated, the Russian winter arrived. The once mighty army, already starving, now faced another enemy: the cold. Temperatures dropped to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Horses collapsed, weapons froze, and thousands of men perished each night. The once mighty Grande Armée was now a desperate mob. At the Berezina River, the nightmare reached its peak. Trapped between the freezing water and Russian forces, thousands drowned or slaughtered. By December, only a fraction of the army remained. Napoleon fled back to Paris, his dream of conquering Russia shattered. 2 years later, Napoleon's empire collapsed. In 1814, he was exiled to Elba, his ambition crushed by the Russian winter.